Now that we have installed our template and indicator, we can see how best to use this software. The indicator can be moved to any place on the chart, in such a way that it doesn't cover the view of the candles we are looking at right now. Just click on the H button, and we can drag it anywhere on the chart. The second button is the hide button, which is used to discover or hide all the buttons we need to do the analysis. The next button is the sensitivity button, where there is the scale from 1 to 5. If I choose sensitivity 1, it means that any measurement I will make on a graph will be made exactly on the candle that I touched with the mouse, although as in this case it is not a maximum or minimum that I was trying to detect. On the other hand, if you click the sensitive button and increase it to 5, it will be possible to touch the candles superficially, and the program will automatically choose the maximum and minimum in this area. As we can see, even if I click on the previous candles, the program chooses the maximum and the minimum in the proximity. The last button is the info button, but we'll talk about that another time. The first module, which interests us, is the module of habitual and denying ranges. Before describing what this module is for, we delete the line Chikou span, which is very important during the analysis, but when we do the measurements it can be a bit disturbing. First, some technical description. The indicator allows us to change both the line thickness and the color. We can display or hide a description of the pulse length. In this case, the impulse lasts 25 days, and the magnitude of the movement is 383 points. Now, we can change the color. We can also change the width of the line. As in this case, for example, we change the width to 1, that is very thin line. As we can see, the line is very thin compared to the previously drawn line. The important thing is the impulse size, 383 points against 381 points. We can change the width of the line, even up to 5. The difference in width is quite evident. Another technical element is that we can hide or display the description of this line. Now let's go back to the original settings. The measurement of impulses and corrections is very important for our trading, and thanks to this module we can do it quickly and very accurately. What is the difference between habitual range and denying range? If we measure the magnitudes of the bullish impulses, and we look for the magnitude of the impulse in the same direction, that is, the bullish impulse, we have to do with the habitual range. If we measure the magnitude of a bearish impulse by comparing it to the bullish impulses, we have to do with the denying range. How can we use this information for our trading? For example, with the last module of our indicator, that I will explain in detail later, but only to see how we can take advantage of the habitual ranges, by measuring in this way the point where the price could arrive according to the quantities of the previous movements. We can also do research on the magnitudes of the corrections. Delete the impulse measurements, and start marking the correction magnitudes. The first correction, of the size of 276 points. Based on this magnitude, I try to understand if the next movements against the trend are still corrections, or we already have to do with change of direction of the trend with the new impulse. The same is true for the third correction, which seems much bigger than the previous corrections, but if we measure it, we find that it is not so. Thanks to this measurement, we know very well that we are dealing with a correction, and not yet an impulse. And on the chart, I find a first movement that is much larger than the magnitudes of the previous corrections. With good probability I can guess that it is a change in the direction of the trend, with the first bearish impulse. There is also the possibility to do the automatic measurement of habitual and denying ranges. We can do this using the historical measurement module. We will describe this module in detail later. For now, let's just see how we can make the habitual and denying ranges using the historical measurements. Here as an example, we take the A, B, C, D movement, where the price moved in a certain way, creating a wave N. The impulse and correction. We can also adjust the measurements since they were not accurate. Once correctly marked an N wave, with A, B, C, D, just press the automatic button to get the habitual and denying ranges automatically measured. In this case, two impulses appear, which the software signals as the denying ranges. If I now do the same example as before, looking for the size of the bearish movement, the CD will correspond exactly to the point where the price of the first denying range has stopped. Habitual and denying ranges I will speak more precisely in my course, Advanced Ichimoku. I invite you to study it well. With time you will learn to use all the elements of the Ichimoku technique. Thanks for watching.